Hola, buenas tardes, profesora.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo está?
¿Qué tal, profe? Gracias, excelente.
Me
Eh,
alegro mucho.
bueno, disculpe por el inconveniente ingresar los minutitos tarde, pero si desea podemos iniciar de inmediato.
Sí, claro que sí.
Ok, bueno, vamos a dar la bienvenida entonces. Por el momento no tenemos estudiantes, pero vamos a dar inicio a nuestra clase número 7, ¿correcto, profesora? Del curso de
Sí,
Gramática 1.
es correcto.
Excelente. Vamos a compartir pantalla entonces con los parámetros que debemos seguir para nuestras sesiones por videoconferencia. Como primer punto, las sesiones se graban. Esto quiere decir que pueden verlas nuevamente a través de su plataforma virtual. Les solicitamos por favor silencien sus micrófonos, de tener consultas o aportes. Pueden encenderlos con el permiso de la docente. Les pedimos también mantener su cámara activa. De no poder hacerlo, enviar su excusa a través del chat de Zoom. De lo contrario, serán retirados de la sesión y les serán restados puntos en la heterovaloración del docente. Mi rol como moderador es facilitar y apoyar en la parte técnica. Consultas a través del chat, puede ser personal o general, ya sea con mi persona o con la docente. Les exhorto a tener bolígrafo y papel para hacer sus anotaciones y aprovechar al máximo esta sesión. Les recordamos que esta sesión tiene un tiempo de duración de 120 minutos. Sin más que agregar por mi parte, le cedo el micrófono a la profesora Mixeli para que pueda iniciar.
Muchas gracias, buenas noches, good evening. Antes de iniciar, sí quiero pues notificar que no tengo el PowerPoint con el sello aprobado, no me lo mandaron. No sé cómo haríamos en ese caso, porque ya revisé el buzón de correos no deseados y no está allí ni tan siquiera. Entonces no sé cómo hacemos.
Bueno, el drive que yo tengo, profesora, aquí no tengo el PPT de su clase. La verdad es que no sé qué habrá pasado, pero si tiene el PPT a mano, podemos compartir ese.
Sí,
El,
yo lo tengo, solo que no tiene el sello de aprobación.
de igual manera, yo lo reporto, profesora, para que estén anuentes de la situación.
Perfecto, muchísimas gracias.
A orden, profe.
Okay, so good evening, dear students. We are going to start our session. This is the number 7, as Lilibet mentions. So we are going to introduce a new model. We are going to be talking about the perfect tense, but in this case, the perfect continuous. Previously, the model that we discussed, it was about the perfect tenses, like the simple perfect tenses, the present perfect tense, the past perfect tense, and the future perfect tense. Today, we will continue working with the perfect tenses, but perfect continuous, okay? So we are going to introduce this model. This is model number 7. I'm gonna share my screen with you and we will start our session, okay? So present, past, and future perfect continuous and conjunctions, okay? We are going to talk a little bit about conjunctions in this model too. Some people dream of accomplishing great things, others stay awake and make it happen. Instructions. Dear student, it is important to follow instructions. This simple step will help you achieve success in your learning. The first thing you should do is locate yourself in a comfortable place with enough light and without distractions. So please turn off the TV and cell phone if necessary. Read the objective carefully. They will help you understand what you want to learn. To make it easier for you to learn the subject, the document is divided into 5 parts called models. Do not skip tasks and complete each one of them in the given order, okay? So we always mention that it's important to follow the order of the different assignments that you may have. And some students, they try to do the assignments, the different tasks before the class, and then they make mistakes. Then for me, it's like a waste of time and effort. So that's why I always recommend to just to wait and to have the session, and then you can start working in the different assignments that you have to. Okay, introduction. In this model, we're going to study the perfect progressive tense is, okay? And this is a category of verb tense used to mark the end of an ongoing action. It covers the past perfect progressive tense, the present perfect progressive tense, and the future perfect progressive tense. Additionally, you will study conjunctions, which works as glue to hold words, phrases, and clauses, both dependent or independent together. Learning objective. Recognize and use correctly the perfect continuous tenses in written and spoken English. And number 2, identify and use appropriate conjunctions to link sentences together, okay? So we will discuss this in this model, okay? Today, we are going to focus only in the present perfect continuous tense and in the past perfect continuous tense. So in our next session, we will see the future perfect continuous tense and also the conjunctions, okay? Just to let you know. So table of contents, as I mentioned before, present perfect, past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous, and conjunctions. Number 1, present perfect continuous. Don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. John Wooden, okay? This is so true. Okay, sometimes we focus on different things that we are not able because not because we cannot, but some things in our life will be out of our control. And this is one of the hardest thing for most people, when you are in a situation where you cannot control things around it. So what we can do is just focus on the things that we can do and just relax with the different things that we cannot have any that we cannot interfere in these situations, okay? Now, definition and explanation. The present perfect continuous is very close in meaning to how we use the present perfect, okay? So if you understood the present perfect tense, if you learn the different rules, it will be easy for you to understand this new topic. However, there are some key differences that distinguish when and how it is preferable. Generally, we use it to talk about that which began in the past and is still happening in the present. The focus is on something that continues to happen as opposed to something which happened. That means that finished sometime in the past, okay? So that means that this tense focus on something that began in the past but is still happening, okay, in the present tense. The present perfect continuous tense is formed by using this formula, like the subject, the present tense of have, then the verb been, and then the present participle of the main verb. Remember that when we use the perfect tense in previous sessions, I told you that the auxiliary that we were going to use was the have, okay? We will still using it in this tense, okay? So let's see. This is correct. I have been living in Jamaica while I finish my PhD, okay? I have been living in Jamaica while I finish my PhD. It's incorrect if you said, I have lived in Jamaica while I finish my PhD. Now, if you see the difference here, something that is different is the use of been, okay? We are using been in this tense, okay, in this case. Now, let's watch a video.
In this video, I'll show you how to form the present perfect continuous tense. First, you have to consider the subject. Is it singular or plural? And then choose the helping verb has or have. Then use the word been. And then the main verb is going to be in the continuous form. The main verb goes here, and it'll be in the continuous form. So if we have a verb like run, I have been running, we have to double the N for spelling. You have been running. He has been running. She has been running. It has been running. For the plural, we have been running. You have been running. And they have been running. The dishwasher has been running for 30 minutes. So on the timeline, this is now, and this is 30 minutes ago. And since that time, the dishwasher has been running continuously. In the present perfect continuous tense, something has a beginning and it continues up to now. So there's a beginning point and then now, and whatever the activity is continues without stopping. Or something happens repeatedly in the past. If you say, for example, she has been visiting the hospital lately. She has been visiting the hospital lately. So there are times in the past when she's been visiting the hospital, but we're not going to indicate exactly when those times were. The students have been working on their English. Here's the subject, and then this is a helping verb. This also counts as a helping verb. And then this is the main verb. It has an ing ending because it's continuous. The students have been working on their English. This is now, and this is sometime in the past. And between the past and now, the activity is continuous. It hasn't stopped. Let's compare the present perfect tense to the present perfect continuous tense. Here's the present perfect tense. The helping verb is have, it matches the subject, and the main verb is in the form of a past participle. In the second example, there's a helping verb, and then this is also a helping verb, and then this is the main verb. It's in the continuous form. It adds the ing to work. It's a little easier sometimes to use the present perfect continuous tense because it's not necessary to remember the past participle. In this case, this is a regular verb. So it's easy to remember that a regular verb.
Yeah, this is true, and this is really important, and I really want to highlight this. The continuous tense, the present perfect continuous, I mean, not the present, but like the perfect continuous tenses, they are easier than the perfect tenses. Because in the perfect tenses, you need to memorize and you need to remember the past participle of the verbs that you are using in your sentences. But in this case, you are going to use all the verbs with ing, okay? So that's key.
Adds ed. But if it's a verb like see, and you have to put that into the present perfect tense, I have seen a doctor. You have to remember that the word seen is the past participle for see. In the present perfect continuous tense, then you say, I have been seeing a doctor. There is another difference between those two sentences. If you say, I have seen a doctor, this could imply one visit or more, but most likely just once. And if you say, I have been seeing a doctor, then this sounds like it's over a period of time and perhaps many times. I have been seeing a doctor. I have studied English. This is in the present perfect tense. I have been studying English. This is in the present perfect continuous tense. I have studied English. This happened sometime in the past, but I'm not sure exactly when. I have been studying English. This started in the past and it continues now. This sounds like the subject, whatever the subject is still doing it. Over here, there's the possibility that the subject is not doing it now, but did it sometime in the past. We just don't know when exactly this happened. It has been raining. So this is now, and this is sometime in the past when the rain started. This could be over several days or just a fairly short period of time, like an entire day. Sometimes we put these two together to form a contraction. If you do that, add it and has together, that becomes it's. It's been raining. But you have to remember that this is has, not is. We have been learning English. If you put this into the form of a contraction, it becomes we've. We've been learning English. She's been walking to work lately. If I put this into the form of a contraction, she has becomes she's. She's been walking to work lately. Remember that when something is continuous, it happens over a period of time. So this is now, and this is the past, and something happens between this point and this point here. When it's the present perfect continuous tense, you consider the subject when choosing has or have, and then use been. You always use been, and then the main verb is going to have an ing ending.
Okay. Let's continue. Now, uses of these tense. We can use it for duration from the past until now, okay? So I can say he has been teaching for 10 years, okay? That is something that began in the past, but is continuously happening until the present, until this time, okay? They have been living in Cairo for 20 years. That means that since 20 years ago, this person, these people, because they are talking in plural, these people moved to Cairo and they still live in there, okay, in the present tense. Also for actions happening recently or lately. She has been exercising a lot recently, okay? I haven't been studying English lately. So you can use it also in negative form, okay? Remember that in this tense, it's important to use the has or have. We use has just as a reminder when you talk about the third person singular. Remember that the third person singular is she, he, or it, okay? And if you talk about I, you, we, or they, you are going to use have. The rest, it's same for everybody. Also, you can use this tense for actions that recently stopped. I've been working all day. I'm tired, so I'm going to take a nap. Okay, the action finished, stop. It has been raining. The sidewalk is wet. Temporary actions. They have been visiting their grandmother for the past week. Okay, temporary actions. I've been filling in for my boss for the past 2 days, okay? Now, this is the formulas that we are going to use, and this is one of the most important things that you need to remember. And remember, if you can just make your little flashcards with the different formulas, will be awesome. They will help you not only in this course, but also in the future. So do the flashcard using these formulas. Okay, so if we are going to use sentences in the positive form, the formula that we need to follow is subject plus our auxiliary, that is has or have, okay? Then the verb been, okay? And then the action verb or the main verb with ing, or in the present participle, okay? So we can say he, she, or it has been, because they are the third person singular, has been studying to do anything that you want to mention. Or you can say I, you, we, or they have been studying, okay? There is another example. I have been cooking and he has been cooking, okay? Now for the negative form, you are going to use the not, okay? But it's important to remember, where do we have to place this not, okay? So the correct order is subject, then you are going to add the have or has, plus not, plus been, plus the verb with ing. So it will be like this. For she, he, or it, you are going to say, he, she, or it has not been studying. Or you can say hasn't been. You can make the contraction, okay? And for the rest of the people, you are going to use have not been. I, you, we, or they have not been studying. Or you can say haven't, okay? Haven't is the contraction. I haven't been cooking, or he hasn't been cooking. For questions, you are going to start the questions using have or has, okay? Then the subject, then the been, and then the verb with ing, the main verb. Has he been starting, blah, 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 blah? Or have you, or we, or they, or I been starting? And here you have another example below. Have you been cooking? Has she been cooking? Okay. So this is important and this is clue. You need to remember this and how to use it, okay? This is going to help you a lot. Do you have any questions so far? If you have questions, remember that you can write in the consulting forum and you can ask if you have any questions and I will be so glad to help you out. Okay, now, questions for you. The first one is, what is the formula for this tense? And the second one is mention some examples, okay? But before you, because you are not here, I'm gonna show you what is the formula. This is the formula: subject plus the present tense of have or has, then the been, then the present participle of the main verb, okay? And this is for affirmative, okay? And here, in examples, mention some examples, any answer was valid, okay? But I mean, you are not here, so it's hard to work in this way. Now, before I introduce the past perfect continuous, I would like to share with you something. This is a very short practice, so we can reinforce this. Okay, so here we have to complete this using the correct form and the past participle, okay? So we have my cats, okay? Here we have been sleeping for 8 hours. I'm talking about my cats and that's plural. So I have to write my cats have been sleeping. Look, we have the verb with ing here. I'm tired because I have been working out, okay? Estoy cansado porque he estado entrenando. I've been working out. My dog has been barking all night. Mi perro ha estado ladrando toda la noche. I use has because I'm talking about my dog. ¿Quién es mi dog? Es mi perro, ¿verdad? And that means that it's the third person singular. Es la tercera persona singular, okay? Then I have my mother. My mother has been writing his project all day, okay? My mother is she, es ella. Entonces voy a usar has porque también es the third person singular. He, ya aquí tenemos, esta S no significa he is. Recuerdan en el video que se explicaba de que cuando vean esto y estén usando el perfect continuous, present perfect continuous tense, esa es la contraction del he más el has. Entonces sería he has been thinking of new project for days. Julie has been living in Italy since May. I have been, aquí tenemos el verbo, cooking, ¿ok? Ya nos dieron el auxiliary y con el been. Has it been raining since you arrived? This is a question. Recordemos que cuando es pregunta vamos a iniciar con el has or have. Aquí usamos has porque estamos hablando de it, ¿ok? Y aquí está el main verb con ing. Has Rick been studying hard this semester? ¿Por qué uso has? Porque estoy iniciando una pregunta y es sobre Rick. Y Rick es he, belongs to the third person singular. They have been, entonces nos toca poner el main verb con ing, watching TV much recently. Mira doesn't understand what you said because she hasn't been listening, okay? He has been working, okay, too hard today. Somebody has. Cada vez que usemos like anybody, somebody, se va a utilizar como si fuera la tercera persona, como si fuera una sola persona, ¿ok? Y se utiliza de esta forma, con la variante, en este caso has. Si fuera un verbo de acción, en este caso tendríamos que utilizarlo con S o ES al final. It has been snowing a lot this week. They have been learning English for 2 years. Have, porque estoy hablando de they. I have been reading, aquí nos pusieron el verbo que vamos a utilizar, an interesting book about the history of Greek. I am so tired because I have been running. Okay. Have your brother and sister. Aquí estamos hablando en plural de tu hermano y tu hermana, así que vamos a usar have. Have your brother and sister been getting along? How long have you been learning Japanese? ¿Por qué uso aquí have? Porque estoy hablando de you, ¿ok? Has John been fixing your bicycle for hours? Yes, he has been. Así es como respondemos, ¿ok? So this is it. This is just a short practice, okay? In order to see how can we use these tense. Now, let me go back. Vamos a volver acá. Okay. Past perfect continuous. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Arthur H. Definition and explanation. The past perfect continuous tense, also called the past perfect progressive tense. Remember that in English, we use the term progressive for the continuous. It's the same, okay? Is used to describe an action that began and was still in progress in the past before another past action started. We usually use the present perfect continuous tense to emphasize the duration of the past action before the second action or event occurred. We can also use it to talk about a past action that caused or resulted in a past event or situation. To form the past perfect continuous, we use subject. Ahora, nuestra auxiliar va a cambiar aquí. Así mismo como lo hicimos previamente, no vamos a utilizar el have or has. Vamos a utilizar had. Es past, así que para el pasado, la palabra que utilizamos es had. Otra cosa, este tiempo es bastante bueno. ¿Por qué? Because we use the had, that is our auxiliary for all the people that we talk about, like I had, you had, she had, he had. So we use had for everybody, okay? Así que es bastante fácil. Welcome, Jacqueline. Nice to have you here. So the examples that we have here are, he hadn't been feeling well, so he went to lay down. Hadn't, okay? That's the same thing that if we say he had not been feeling well, so he went to lay down. I was covered in mud as I had been digging in the backyard, okay? Now, uses of this tense, okay? We can use this tense for duration before something in the past. That means that, look at the examples here. He had been waiting for an hour when she finally arrived. Something that took time in the past. She had been working at the company for 10 years before it shut down. Cause of something in the past. He went on a diet because he had been eating too much. So there is a reason. The road was wet because it had been raining. Then we have also the third conditional. If it hadn't been snowing, we would have gone out, okay? If I had been paying attention, I wouldn't have gotten into an accident. So when we talk about the third conditional, that means the use of if, okay? Es el condicional. And for reported speech, she said that John had been helping her study for months. You told me that you had been saving money for college. Reported speech, that means that you repeat something that somebody says, okay? Other uses of these tense, okay? We can use these tense when we are expressing wishes, okay? Deseos. We generally use one of the past tenses to describe a wish or desire for a hypothetical alternative, okay? So we can use this tense also for that. Now the formulas, okay? The formulas for the past perfect continuous are very similar to the formulas that we already discussed. The only difference is that instead of using have or has, we're going to use had, okay? I had been studying, we had been studying, okay? So that's the way. I had been living in New York for 5 years, okay? Now, negative form, we are going to use the not, as we saw previously, between the had and between the been, okay? In the middle. So we say, I had not been starting. You had not been starting, or she had not been starting, okay? I had not been living, or you can say, I hadn't been living. That's the pronunciation, okay? Así como se pronuncia. I hadn't been living, okay? And for questions, I'm going to start the questions using had, okay? So, had you been starting? Had plus the subject plus been plus the main verb with ing, okay? Had they been living in that way? We change a little bit the order, okay? So do you have any question? Jacqueline, I know that you just got into the class. Sé que acabas de llegar. ¿Tienes alguna pregunta de esto que acabamos de discutir? ¿Alguna pregunta, Jacqueline? Hoy empezamos módulo 4, ¿ok? Recuerda que cada módulo se divide en dos, en dos sesiones. Esta es la primera sesión del módulo 4. En esta primera sesión estamos viendo lo que es el tiempo presente perfecto continuo. En las dos clases anteriores vimos el tiempo perfecto, solito. Ahora estamos viendo el tiempo perfecto continuo. Entonces, ahorita estamos viendo lo que fue presente perfecto continuo y pasado perfecto continuo, que es el que acabo de explicar. De lo que pudiste ver, ¿tienes alguna pregunta? Mañana no, el otro jueves vamos a ver lo que es futuro perfecto continuo y vamos a ver conjunctions. Esa es la otra parte que nos corresponde, ¿ok? Ok, no tienes mucha señal, vale. Ok, well, let's continue. What is the formula? What is the formula for this tense, okay? The formula for this tense is subject, had been, and the present participle of the main verb, okay? That's the formula. And some uses of this tense, we can mention expressing wishes, conditional sentences, cause of something in the past, okay? These are some of the uses that we can have with this tense. Okay, we were supposed to have a practice, okay? Jacqueline, si pongo una práctica aquí, ¿crees que puedas hacerla o la señal no te lo va a permitir? ¿Estás teniendo tan mala señal? Ok, bien. Ella no tiene buena señal tampoco para hacer la práctica. La práctica anterior eh, la desarrollé yo sola, ¿sí? Vamos a ver, un momentito, voy a dejar de compartir. La idea era que se tomaran 20 minutos para hacer la práctica esta y pues la otra también que se hizo, la idea era hacerla en grupos, pero no se ha podido. Ok, dame un segundo. Voy a buscar la práctica del past para por lo menos discutir algunos ejemplos aquí. Ya sé que Jacqueline tiene mala señal, así que igual no puede ni participar. Ok, vamos entonces a mirar una práctica aquí sobre el past perfect. Sorry, estaba hablando y tenía el micrófono apagado. Les decía que vamos a verificar esta práctica que tenemos aquí utilizando el past perfect continuous, ¿ok? Vamos a ver entonces cómo sería. Siguiendo nuestra fórmula, dice que nosotros vamos a utilizar el subject, luego el had, seguido del been, ¿verdad? Seguido de el verbo con ing, con ing. El verbo es work, aquí lo tenemos en paréntesis. Working. I had been working all day, so I didn't want to go out. Yo estuve, si traducimos eso sería algo como, yo estuve trabajando todo el día, así que no quise salir, ¿sí? Así que no quise salir. Más o menos esa es la traducción que podemos darle a esto, ¿ok? Acá sería, she had been sleeping. Usamos el verbo con ing. For 10 hours when I woke her up. Ella estuvo durmiendo por 10 horas cuando la desperté. They had been living in Beijing for 3 years when he lost his job. By the time we met, he had been working at that company for 6 months. We had been eating all day, so we were full. He was red in the face because he had been running. No olvidemos doblar la última letra cuando tenemos un verbo corto cuya terminación es o tiene este patrón de consonant, vowel, consonant. Hacemos que se repita la última consonante y luego colocamos el ing. For an hour. It had been, y tenemos el verbo allí, raining, and the road was covered in water. I was really tired because I had been studying. We had been dating, okay, 3 years before we got married. Estuvimos saliendo por 3 años antes de casarnos. It had been snowing for 3 days, okay? That's it. So, Jacqueline, can you write in the chat? No sé si tienes buena señal ahorita, si me estás escuchando, pero si puedes escribir en el chat, si por lo menos los ejemplos que puse allí, si fueron bastante claros o bastante sencillos para ti. Agradecería que me dejes saber eso, por favor. Si pudiste verlo, si pudiste entender. Sí, ok, sí. Ah, no, bueno, eso fue lo anterior. Mientras Jacqueline de pronto me escribe por allí, no pudo entenderlo bien. Ok. Ok, aquí te explico, Jacqueline, que en estos tiempos, como lo dije en la grabación, ojalá puedas ver la grabación también nuevamente, pero es bien importante que ustedes hagan en la medida que se les sea posible, yo se lo recomiendo a todos los grupos, unas tarjetitas, como unas flashcards con las fórmulas. Yo lo único que hice fue escribir en todos had been. Had been, te lo voy a mostrar. Fue lo único que hice. Aquí. Solo, miren, todos escribí had been, had been, had been, had been, had been. ¿Qué es lo único que cambia en ellos? La palabra final, que es el verbo, la acción. ¿Y cuál estoy usando? El verbo que me dan aquí. Aquí el verbo me lo están dando. Work, por eso puse working. Sleep, sleeping. A todos les puse ing. Porque este tiempo todos van a llevar had been y el verbo de acción lo vas a escribir, pero con ing. Aquí te lo dan, ¿ves? Work, eat, run. Yo puse running, eating, working, living, sleeping, working, raining, studying, dating, snowing. ¿Sí? Entonces, si te das cuenta, es lo mismo para todos. Had been, had been, had been, had been, had been. Y solo le agrego, lo que va a cambiar es el verbo, la acción que estás utilizando. ¿Vale? Así es como funciona este tiempo. Es bien sencillo porque vas a usar el had been con todos. No importa de quién estés hablando, vas a usar had been para todos. Y eso es lo que hace que sea fácil. Y aparte que no te tienes que aprender, en este caso, no es que no te los tienes que aprender, sino que no tienes que utilizar los verbos en la lista del past participle, del pasado participio, sino que todos los verbos los vas a usar solamente agregándoles ing. Así que no es como que te tienes que memorizar algo. ¿Sí? Solamente es colocarle al final al verbo ing. had been y luego ing. Si es negativo, dices had not been y el verbo con ing. Bueno, se le fue la señal. Oh my goodness. Okay, she's back again. Sí, así que bueno, básicamente eso. Ahora les quiero explicar lo que vienen siendo, lo que corresponden a nuestras asignaciones para este módulo, ¿sí? Vamos a mirar qué asignaciones tenemos para este módulo. Me gustaría saber también, Jacqueline, si me estás escuchando, si en la entrega de los trabajos anteriores has tenido alguna dificultad, hubo algo que no entendiste, hay algo que te pueda explicar de algún tema que ya dimos, no sé, me dejas saber para poder guiarte o no sé si has podido ver las grabaciones y pues se te ha hecho fácil con eso, me avisas, ¿ok? En la medida que puedas. Vamos a mirar aquí lo que son las asignaciones para este módulo. Tenemos que van a hacer un PowerPoint, ¿ok? ¿De qué va a ser el PowerPoint? El PowerPoint es sobre conjunctions. Obviamente aún no puedes empezar a trabajarlo porque no hemos dado esta clase de lo que son las conjunctions. Lo recomendable sería que esperes a la próxima sesión del otro jueves, donde vamos a explicar y vamos a hablar sobre conjunctions para que puedas entonces empezar a trabajar este tema, ¿ok? Dice que este PowerPoint va a ser sobre conjunctions y debe llevar tu voz grabada en la presentación. No es que tienes que salir en el video, pero tu voz debe salir, o sea, se debe escuchar en la presentación de PowerPoint. Mientras el PowerPoint se proyecta, tú debes colocar tu voz en cada diapositiva explicando lo que tienes allí, ¿ok? Este trabajo debe llevar cover page, que es la página de presentación, debe llevar una introducción, debe llevar el desarrollo pues, del trabajo que es sobre conjunctions, todo lo que quieras poner sobre conjunctions, una conclusión y las referencias. ¿Qué son las referencias? Pues las referencias no es nada más y nada menos que lo que uno conoce como la bibliografía, ¿sí? Las referencias bibliográficas. Jacqueline, a ver si tienes alguna pregunta o duda con respecto a este trabajo. Y lo otro es el test. Lo otro es el ejercicio, el parcial que tienen. Como siempre hay un parcial y una asignación. En este caso la asignación es el PowerPoint. Importante que tu voz esté allí en el fondo del PowerPoint, ¿sí? Que en cada diapositiva se puede escuchar tu voz explicando lo que aparece allí en el PowerPoint. No sé si tienes alguna pregunta, si hubo alguna duda de los temas que ya se han dado. ¿No hay dudas? Ok, bueno, ¿a quién tengo como moderadora ahorita?
Lilibet, profesora.
Profesora, yo tengo una dificultad, no sé, bueno, creo que se ha podido dar cuenta, eh, porque la clase de los jueves, bueno, nunca asisten los estudiantes. Entonces, ahorita la estudiante pudo entrar, entró bien tarde y no tiene buena señal tampoco. Las actividades que se planifican para que se puedan desarrollar con ellos, por lo menos es una práctica, se les divide a ellos, la planificación es para dividir el salón en grupo, que ellos puedan trabajar 20 minutos desarrollando una práctica, vimos 2 tiempos, o sea que allí iban 40 minutos en práctica, ¿me explico? Y luego poder desarrollarlo aquí, cosa que no puedo hacer. Entonces, por lo menos por mi parte, lo que es la explicación del tema ya está dada y honestamente no sé cómo hacer porque solamente ha pasado una hora, ¿me explico? Entonces,
Correcto.
no puedo, por lo menos ya usted vio que le pregunté, ella no tiene buena señal, ya se ha salido, vuelve a entrar. eh, entonces es bastante difícil y no sé qué más hacer.
Bueno, realmente si ya se cumplió con la planificación, lastimosamente pues no podemos realizar las actividades ya que no tenemos estudiantes, solamente tenemos a Jacqueline, pero está presentando fuertes dificultades con lo que es la señal. Entonces yo, como siempre les indico a los docentes, yo voy a dejar estas observaciones, lo voy a conversar también con la licenciada Diamar para que sepa el motivo por el cual la clase finalizó una hora antes. ¿Ok? No hay problema.
Yo también, yo le comenté a ella de la situación anteriormente, pero de todas formas, sí, sea como sea, es como un poquito incómodo porque
Claro, la
me
entiendo.
explico, sí, porque yo quisiera poder hacer más, pero no puedo ni hacer más con Jacqueline, que la tengo aquí, porque entonces ella no tiene buena señal tampoco y es una pena, honestamente. Así que le agradezco de todas formas, Lilibet, por su apoyo en esta tarde. Y bueno, quedo a disposición de los estudiantes. Como siempre digo, en el foro de consulta me pueden escribir. Estoy atenta allí. De cualquier forma en que pueda asistirles o ayudarles, con mucho gusto pueden contar con mi apoyo. Así que bueno, sería todo por mi parte, Lilibet.
Ok, profesora, muchas gracias. Bueno, como lo indica la profesora Mixeli, chicos, chicas, al momento que ven esta grabación, pueden ingresar a su plataforma y a través del foro de consultas aclarar o despejar cualquier duda que tengan con la profesora referente a algún tema o a alguna asignación. ¿Ok? Importante también que se pongan al día para que puedan completar sus actividades. Sin más que
Muchísimas
agregar
gracias.
entonces, por mi parte, y con el permiso de la profesora Mixeli, damos por finalizada la sesión y nos vemos en otra ocasión para nuestra siguiente clase. Bendiciones, buenas noches.